Okay, so free public transit. It's everywhere these days, right?
Yeah, it's a hot topic for sure.
Especially since Sonia Furstenau and the Green Party made it a central issue here in BC.
Right.
I mean, who wouldn't want to just ditch the car payments and gas receipts and just cruise around for free?
Yeah, for sure. On the surface, it's very appealing.
Students, commuters, tourists, everyone wins on that one, right? Well, maybe not. Because today we're doing a deep dive into the unexpected impacts of free public transit.
Yeah.
Not just the obvious stuff. We've got a whole stack of opinion pieces. We even found a song about it, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, and we're going to try to uncover some of those hidden connections between transit, public health, social equity, things you might not consider right away.
Right. And it's important to remember that policies, even ones from a good place, can have consequences you don't expect.
Exactly. So, okay, let's rewind back to Sonia Furstenau's proposal for a sec.
Hmm.
Her big argument was the cost of owning a car, right?
Yeah.
$10,000 a year.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And she made the point that free transit would save people money, it would help with emissions, we could get away from this car-centric society.
Which is all well and good, but what she didn't really get into, and this is a big one, especially these days, is what happens when you've got COVID and all these other airborne illnesses floating around, and you start packing people onto buses.
Right. How do you balance that?
Exactly.
And here's another thing, this whole thing with the rise of e-bikes and scooters.
Oh, yeah?
Furstenau's argument was based on everyone paying that $10,000 for a car. But if people are switching to these other ways to get around, does that comparison even make sense anymore? And what happens to those industries if everyone's just taking the bus for free?
Right. That's an interesting question. It's a good point. It makes you think about who actually benefits from free transit, right?
Yeah.
Like some people have pointed out, it could basically become a shelter system,
Especially
especially in the colder months.
for people experiencing homelessness. Makes sense, right? Warm, dry place to get out of the elements.
Exactly. But then you have to think about what happens when you have a lot of vulnerable people who might already have health problems, all packed into these enclosed spaces.
Right.
Could actually make the spread of those illnesses worse, which kind of defeats the purpose.
And it's not just those experiencing homelessness either. Like, what about students? They're already in close contact all day at school. Free transit means more kids on buses, which then leads to the question, are there public health implications there that we're not really thinking about? And this is where we get into this whole butterfly effect thing, like just making transit free. How far do those ripples actually go?
Right. And it's not just theoretical. One of the songwriters we looked at actually wrote a whole song about this. Yeah. Which I'll admit I wasn't expecting.
It's called Side by Side, and there's this line that I think really captures it. City lights flicker, bus rolls by, free rides for all, a dream come true. But beneath the surface, stories untold.
Yeah.
It just reminds you that these policies, even when they sound good, they're playing out in the real world with real people.
Exactly. And that's why we need to think beyond that initial impact. What are those second, third order effects? Like, how do we actually deal with some of these potential downsides? The sources had a few ideas, but each one kind of comes with its own question mark.
Like ASHRE ventilation standards. I'll be honest, I had to look that one up. Basically, it's all about making sure there's good air quality, which seems kind of important on a bus, right? But then you realize retrofitting every single bus with new ventilation, that's a massive undertaking.
It is, and that's where the question of feasibility comes in. How much would it actually cost to do that system-wide? Is it even possible on some of the older buses? Big questions there.
Okay, so maybe HHRE is a bust. What about this UVC lighting?
Oh, yeah, that's an interesting one. Using UV light to kill germs.
And it's safe for people.
Supposedly, yeah. Specific type of UV. But again, it comes down to how well does it really work? And then how much does it cost? How do you actually implement it? Are you going to put UV lights on every bus? How often do you have to change the bulbs? It gets complicated.
It always seems to, doesn't it? Some of the solutions are a little more low-tech, though. Like, remember masks?
Oh, yeah, of course.
It seems like encouraging people to wear masks, especially in crowded places like buses, could be an easy win, right?
Potentially, yeah. But then you run into that whole thing of individual choice versus public health.
Oh, right.
Mandating masks can get tricky, so how do you get people on board without going down that road?
Yeah, finding that balance is tough. And maybe this is a good place to kind of zoom back out to the bigger political picture for a sec, because looking at the sources, it's pretty clear this isn't just about one party's platform or anything.
Right.
They were pretty harsh on all of them, actually, for not really addressing the more nuanced stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's really the point here. This deep dive isn't about, calling anyone out specifically. It's about getting people to think critically. What questions should we be asking our leaders, no matter what side they're on?
Because it's easy to hear something like free transit and jump on board without thinking it through, right?
Right.
It's on us as voters, as citizens, to dig a little deeper, demand a bit more.
Absolutely, and that means demanding solutions that actually consider the whole picture,
Yeah.
right? Not just one piece of the puzzle.
Like that saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. You can have the best intentions in the world, but still end up with something that doesn't work. Or even worse, something that backfires. And that's kind of where you come in, right? The listener. Because this isn't just some theoretical thing.
Right.
This is about your community. It's about public health. It's about the future we're all building.
Exactly. So as you're listening to all this, what are you thinking? What questions are coming up for you?
Because that's the whole point of a deep dive like this. It's not about us telling you what to think. It's about giving you the tools to, figure it out for yourself.
Right, to have
Yeah.
those conversations, make those decisions from a place of, I guess, informed understanding, not just going with your gut.
Speaking of which, remember that song, Side by
Yeah,
Side?
yeah.
There's another line in there that I keep coming back to. In this complex world, we'll find our way. With hope and wisdom, a brighter day. Maybe a little on the nose for a song about buses, but
Maybe. But I think it speaks to this idea that, even though we're talking about potential problems, the goal isn't to be all doom and gloom about it.
right.
It's about being, I guess, clear-eyed,
Yeah.
thinking critically, being open to different perspectives, and then hopefully finding a way forward that works.
And maybe that's the biggest takeaway from all of this. It's not just about transportation, it's about all these other things too. Public health, social equity, how we design our cities, how we build a sustainable future, all of it.
Exactly. It's all connected. And you have to remember that even small changes, they can have these ripple effects.
So as we wrap things up here, we want to leave you with this. What if free transit is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle? This puzzle about creating a world that's healthier, fairer, better for everyone. It's complicated, there's no easy answers, but it's a conversation we need to be having. So on that note, thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Keep those wheels turning, and we'll catch you next time.
We're all just passengers on this ride, wheels spinning fast through the night. They promised us free roads, a place to breathe, but now the air is thick, it's hard to believe. They thought they solved the homeless fight, but shadows gather in the morning light. I see it clearer now, between the lines. We're trading hope for a safer sign, but what's the cost? The hidden price? Are we saving souls or rolling dice? Side by side, we sit and we stare, breathing the same heavy tainted air. The answers seem close but out of reach, while we ride these tracks with lessons to teach. We're more than just bodies filling a space, we carry the weight of a system misplaced. Ooh. Students and strangers, worlds collide, sharing the breath that we can't divide. A virus twist, it lingers in the breeze, silent as it takes what it pleases. We thought we were kind, offering a seat, but kindness can cut, it can be bittersweet. They call it progress, a simple step, but these choices dig deeper than they prepped. We built a home that doesn't stand for the living, the lost, the broken hand. Side by side, we sit and we stare, breathing the same heavy tainted air. The answers seem close but out of reach, while we ride these tracks with lessons to teach. We're more than just bodies filling a space, we carry the weight of a system misplaced. Ooh. But I believe in better, something more. We're not just numbers keeping score. If we fix the air, the light, the way, maybe we'll find a brighter day. I know there's hope even if it's hard to see, in the quiet moments we'll set it free. Side by side, we sit and we stare, breathing the same heavy tainted air. The answers seem close but out of reach, while we ride these tracks with lessons to teach. We're more than just bodies filling a space, we carry the weight of the system misplaced. I'm still here, holding on to the dream of a world where we all belong. Side by side, we'll make it right, step by step into the light. We're more than just just bodies filling a space. We're more than just bodies filling a space. We're more than just side by side. We sit and we stare, breathing the same heavy tainted air. The answers seem close but out of reach, while we write these tracks with lessons to teach. We're more than just bodies filling a space. We carry the weight of a system misplaced. Ooh, of a system misplaced. But I believe in better. It's something more. We're not just numbers keeping score. If we fix the air, the light, the way, maybe we'll find a brighter day. I know there's hope even if it's hard to see. In the quiet moments we'll set it free. But I believe in better and something more.